Um, Projects like this and the funding for projects like this, right now it seems like all state funding is kind of precarious with everything going on. Of course, the big pension monster looming over everybody's head. So, Senator Sullivan, what's the timeline for getting started on that?
Bob, before I answer your question, and I'll come back to it in just a second, I want to say that your actions on the Monday morning after I announced that I was going in for surgery, cancer surgery, when you went on WTAD and the remarks that you and your co-host made on that program, I found absolutely insulting and disrespectful. I think if you think about what I endured for that surgery, I was in the hospital for almost 3 weeks. I had tubes and hoses coming out of about every orifice in my body, including several others that they created. I had my arms from my elbows to my knuckles were black and blue from needles and IVs. And for you to make those types of comments and to insinuate that I did that for political purposes is one of the most insulting and disrespectful things that I have ever seen. I just think it's inhuman, and to talk about kicking a guy when he's down, to do that is unbelievable. The last thing I want to say before I answer your question is that when I met with my surgeon back in July, I asked her specifically if there was any way that I could put this off until after November, because I didn't want this to be a political issue. She's the one who said, "John, we need to do this, we need to do it now." So for your actions, whatever respect that I had for you, Bob, I will tell you that your friends at WTAD, that respect is gone.
So when you met with your surgeon in July, then that's when she said you should do it at this time?
Now, as soon as possible. That's as soon as we could schedule it. Now, what was your question?
The question was, in talking about the funding, when is the timeline to work on the pension problem, which, if that isn't solved, projects like this and state money like this is going to be gone?
Absolutely. The pension situation has to be solved. It's not a question of if, but the question is, as you just said, when. And the sooner we can come up with an agreement, the better, because every day that we delay it and every day that it doesn't get solved, it puts the state of Illinois in financial jeopardy. So that's what the timeline is as soon as we can bring all the parties to the table, we can reach a bipartisan agreement on that. It needs to be bipartisan. Everybody needs to be at the table. We need to come up with a solution, and it needs to include all 5 systems. We can't go and piecemeal this thing together. It needs to be everybody, because the problem affects everybody, all 5 systems. We need to come up with a solution that is going to be agreeable and that will fix the problem for all systems. I don't have a timeline. If we can do it in the veto session, the sooner the better. If we can't reach that agreement, we need to do it as soon as possible after the first of the year.
One final question regarding funding. The Quincy Public School District just found out that they're going to be about $500,000 short in their PPRT for this year. Do we know where PPRT stands for other entities like the City of Quincy right now?
I do. Okay. I mean, we budgeted to realize that we'd be at least 50% less revenue from PPRT. I was a little surprised that maybe they didn't realize that when they put their budget together. But I think most municipalities, most villages, county governments knew that there would be less PPRT coming forth this year. I mean, it makes sense with the decline in economy and some of the less corporate taxes are being paid in our state. So, it'll be a blow to them. There's no doubt about that. They'll have to figure out a way that they can somehow recapture those dollars in a different direction, or have to make more cuts to their system.
And just to add on to that, I mean, there's no easy solutions. It's shared sacrifice. Everybody is feeling the pinches of the financial situation, and what we're trying to do is when we passed this budget this year, there were pretty much across the board cuts to almost every entity in the state of Illinois, Medicaid included. So as we try to find the solutions, there's a shared sacrifice, and there's going to have to be some belt tightening. There's been layoffs at the state level on employment. The city's also had to deal with that as well. So it's a shared sacrifice, and we're all going to have to pull together to get out of the situation.